Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.
Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Hey folks, today is Tuesday, May 13th, 2025, coming up on Roller Market Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. Day 2 of the Sean Diddy Combs trial, and the star witness Cassie Ventura. Shocking, stunning testimony. Attorney Candace Kelley will have the full breakdown for us. Senator Chuck Schumer says, I ain't moving forward with any Department of Justice political appointees until we get answers on Donald Trump wanting to accept this $400 million plane from the Qatari government. Also, John Boyd of the National Black Farm Association is hot as hell with Trump importing these white Afrikaners from South Africa, claiming they're facing discrimination. They want them to, guess what, do farming work. That and more. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, go, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Folks, day 2 of the Sean Diddy Combs trial, and it was a blockbuster. Cassie Ventura, who was the star witness for the prosecution, she detailed vicious abuse and sometimes up to 4-day freak-offs. Homes. The defense made sure that she was seated before the jury came in. So therefore, a pregnant Cassie could not garner sympathy from the jury, but listening to her testimony, that likely happened. Legal analyst Candace Kelley Candace Kelley joins us right now. Was in the courtroom, and Candace, I tell you, I read some of the accounts and just brutal testimony about abuse, domination, and all sorts of vile, disgusting things that Cassie to her.
Yeah, you're going in and out a little bit, but yes, Roland, this was something that she described as what would be a drug-fueled marathon. Just as you said, up to several days of taking cocaine or Molly or marijuana, ecstasy, and being directed by Sean Combs specifically to do exactly what he wanted to do in these videos. She described even sometimes that he would be on FaceTime looking at the videos, and doing things that he requested. So this was something that was very, very detailed after the prosecution laid down the foundation as to how they met when she was 19 years old and signed a 10-record deal, of which only one of those records actually came out. And she also said she had hundreds of songs, but nothing became of it. But they met at 19, and when she was 22, Roland, that is when she was first asked by Sean Combs to have what we all know now as a freak-off. And she said from then on that those freak-offs happened every week. And after a while, she felt like, yes, she was involved with this man and loved this man, but then she felt cornered in that she felt like this was her job in a sense, that this was part of something that she had to do. He had videotaped her, as well as there was violence involved, and she felt that her life was threatened. The kicking, the beating, the slapping, the punching, kicking in the head, she was not in a good position, she said, to get out of this relationship. Now, there was a question as to whether or not, did you enjoy these videos? I mean, certainly there were some times where it looked like she did, but that's something that the jury's going to have to consider through all of this. But certainly a heightened day, as you said, the defense did not want any sympathies to be given to her if she came in walking as a pregnant woman, but that's who she is. She had her hands on her belly the whole time. There's no way that you couldn't know that someone in their third trimester was pregnant, was not pregnant. So that's how it went today. So a lot for the jury to consider.
Okay, so let's unpack this. What she detailed, again, was shocking, stunning, demeaning. But how does what she detailed fall in line with sex trafficking? Because even though she was 19, she's also was a consenting adult. And so the prosecution has to make that connection, correct?
They absolutely have to make that connection of force or coercion, and that she was not just a consenting adult. This is how they're connecting the dots, Roland. If it wasn't for that video, then probably we wouldn't be in court now. Let's start right there. In this video, so far we have heard from the security guard that night from the hotel, heard from him yesterday. He said that when he took Cassie back to her room, there was a third person, a man, sitting on a bed. Cassie says that that man is a part of the freak-offs that she was instructed to pay for, look for on Craigslist, and that security guards sometimes gave money for, or that Sean Combs sometimes provided the money for. So that's how they're making the connection, that ultimately there were other people involved. She was trying to get away that night from a freak off in particular in that Los Angeles hotel, and that that person was indeed paid for sex. So that's how prosecutors are connecting those dots.
Do you believe that they're going to, and again, I'm just looking at what the charges were. Do you believe that they're going to have some difficulty? Because when I look at, when I was reading all of these stories and reading her quotes, domestic violence, but they're domestic violence charges.
Correct. These are not domestic violence charges. Here's what I think is going to happen, Roland. I actually think that this could go either way. I've spoken to a number of people, and not either way on every single charge. I think transporting people for the purpose of committing prostitution, I think that is the lowest offense, and I think that is something that actually Sean Combs would take. It's only 10 years, and I say only because it's up to 10 years. He could get 5. He would get time served, and then you'd only have to, serve 2/3 of that particular sentence. I think they're willing to give that up. I think when it comes to the Mann Act and when it comes to the RICO charges, you are talking about something slightly different. But, Cassie today, while she was on the stand, she opened up the door for that RICO charge because she talked about other people that were involved in what prosecutors are calling this criminal enterprise. So, for example, there were people who came in, according to her, to the room beforehand and set up the room with condoms and Astroglide and baby oil and gave them money. Or there were people who stood guard, or there were people who rented the room in the name of them. So what she did was she opened the door for other employees, other workers to come in, and you see this enterprise starting to form, and you see that that's exactly where the prosecution will go. Otherwise, they would have never had her talk about those other people. But I think that's where we're going.
I was talking to someone today, and they said to me, what do you think his aim is? I said, very simple. I said, the cat is out the barn. I said, their goal is to keep him out of prison. And so their whole deal is we're going to portray Diddy as a callous, mean-spirited, freaky, crazy, deranged, drug-addled individual. But they already have laid it out by saying, but he's not a criminal. That's literally what their defense is.
That's right. That is literally what their defense is. And that's why, depending upon who was on that jury, you've got 8 men and 4 women. You've got 5 of them that are African American. You've got 1 Asian that's on there, a couple of Latinos. It depends upon what they think about this information. And while we know that we have an impaneled, impartial jurors, we know that somebody has an idea in their head as to what they believe real coercion actually looks like, and why did she stay in this relationship for 10 years? Now, this is where the experts come in. This is where you get a therapist or a psychologist to come in and contextualize why someone does stay in a situation like this. And this is what happens in a lot of cases that have to do with sex trafficking, child pornography, and abuse and abusive relationships. Why do the women stay? That's going to be very, very important. We are definitely going to be hearing from someone who hasn't specifically talked to Sean or Cassie, but can just really contextualize everything that's gone on for somebody in this relationship.
Timing matters. This is going to be an 8-week trial.
Yes.
Normally, there's a build up by prosecutors for your star witness. They put her on the second day. Why do you think that was the strategy?
So I think for two reasons. One, because she is pregnant. She is in her third trimester. She could have her baby early. And then at that point, things would be delayed to not a point of no return, but certainly prosecutors don't want that. Number two, they did give a little bit of a buildup with the security guard and one escort from yesterday so that people could at least be introduced to the recording before she got on. But I think it's mainly because she's about to have a baby.
Got it. Now, is she done testifying? Did she complete testimony today, or are they bringing her back tomorrow?
So they'll probably bring her back tomorrow. They will probably bring her back Thursday and possibly even Friday. So we're not even done with the direct. Then we're going to have cross, and then we're going to have redirect. So all that is going to take time, and we haven't really gotten into all of the details in terms of other information that we've heard of the public. We've just heard a little bit about who she was, laying that foundation, what these freak-offs were involved in, and getting into all of the very, very specific details of certain freak-offs. But in terms of what happened over 10 years, I would say we're only a few years in that relationship. She might be on the stand for 3 more days until the end of the week.
All right, then, Candace Kelley, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
All right.
All right, folks, got to go to a break. We come. He is in Saudi Arabia hitting 3 Gulf states. And if you want to see somebody who first is lazy, and she's lazy as all get out, absolute liar and a grifter, all one, we're going to unpack all of that right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
On the next, A Balanced Life, we're talking soul and soul food. The kitchen is the heart of the home. So many memories that are there, the things we've learned, the recipes that we've tried to garner and to somewhat figure out how to cook ourselves. There's something about the kitchen and family and being at the table that brings us all joy. We're going to be joined by some amazing guests who are going to talk to us about how do we keep tradition alive and what are we doing for the culture.
The traditions and the gathering and the warmth and security, those memories are super important. And we have to, make sure that those continue to happen. So no matter how we get in the kitchen or around the food, I just want you there.
That's all next on A Balanced Life here on Black Star Network.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, we're talking about the difficulty of being able to acquire wealth for Black Americans. My guest, Emily Flitter, is the author of The White Wall, How Big Finance is Bankrupting Black Americans.
The bad stuff that you feel when you're dealing with the financial services industry is not your fault. It's not your fault, and you don't deserve to be treated like this.
That's right here on Get Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
This week on The Other Side of Change.
Let's talk. Vote blue, no matter who.
We need political imagination more than ever, and unfortunately, some people on the Democratic side really are discouraging that. We're going to dig into all of it.
The Democratic Party needs to remember who they are and who they are responsible to.
This is On the Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr, the Tuskegee Institute, now university, forever linked to the infamous and despicable syphilis experiments done on the poor rural farmers in Alabama and the Tuskegee Airmen, the famous heroes of World War II. But its history is about so much more. In his new book, The Tuskegee Student Uprising, author Brian Jones reveals a largely untold history, rich in radical activism and reform.
Suddenly the students are meeting these folks whose lifestyle is very different from theirs, very rural, but they're seeing them lose family members. People in their family disappear.
How Tuskegee became an epicenter for Black power. An amazing history lesson on the Black Table, right here on the Black Star Network.
We begin tonight with the people who are really running the country right now. Now, Trump is often wrong and misleading about a lot of things, but especially about history. Donald Trump falling in line with President Elon Musk.
In the wake of the unsettling news that MSNBC has canceled Joy Ann Reid's primetime show, The Readout, Roland Martin and the Black Star Network would like to extend an invitation to all of the fans of Joy Ann Reid's MSNBC show to join us every night to watch Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming on the Black Star Network for news, discussion of the issues that matter to you, and the latest updates on the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon-in-chief Donald Trump and his unprecedented assault on democracy, as well as co-president Elon Musk's takeover of the federal government. The Black Star Network stands with Joy Ann Reid and all folks who understand the power of Black voices in media. We must come together and never forget that information is power. Be sure to watch Roland Martin Unfiltered weeknights, 6 p.m. Eastern at youtube.com/Roland S. Martin or download the Black Star Network app.
Now streaming on the Black Star Network.
In France, me and Tony, and accidentally went to the Louvre, right? I had never been, and I saw a side door. And we got off the little bus. I said, come on, Tony, let's go to the Louvre. I mean, I'm just like, let's go to the Louvre, right?
We're here.
This Black girl is at the door with this white guy, Black African girl. And she says, oh my gosh, Vanessa Bell Calloway. And I'm like this, you know me? And come to find out we were at the wrong door. But she said, I'm gonna let you just go in here. But I was in Paris, France. And that shocked me. She knew my name, she knew me. She knew my movie. You know, so it's like, you just gotta, they say, build and they will come. Put it out there, people will find it, they will come.
A horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate Black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear. When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
What's up, y'all? Look, Fanbase is more than a platform. It's a movement to empower creators, offering a unique opportunity for everyday people to invest in Black-owned tech, infrastructure, and help shape the future of social media. Investing in technology is essential for creating long-term wealth and influence in the digital age. The Black community must not only consume tech, we must own it.
Discover how equity crowdfunding can serve as a powerful tool for funding Black businesses, allowing entrepreneurs to raise capital directly through their community through the Jobs Act.
This is Tamala Mann.
And this is David Mann. And you're watching Roland Martin
Unfiltered.
One of the things we talked about on yesterday is when you're dealing with a liar, you got to go ahead and say he's a liar. So, for instance, the liar-in-chief, Donald Trump, is running around talking about how these auto companies are going to be building these new manufacturing facilities all across America. Watch this.
Mr. President, are you open to negotiating your tariffs on cars, steel, and aluminum with China or any other country?
Well, we're not even talking about that. We're bringing the car business back into this country. We have commitments, not only commitments, they've already started construction on many plants. They've left Mexico in a few cases. In a few cases, they've left Canada. They're not going to build in Canada. They're going to build here because we have the market, and the tariffs have been amazing. The election and the tariffs. November 5th was a big day, and on top of that, of course, you wouldn't have the tariffs without the election, I guess, if you look at it. But we have at least 11 committed massive car factories that are going to be built, that are in the process of being built. And some are going through, some have actually started. We also have renovations of existing factories where they weren't utilizing the full factory from years gone by, and now they're under full renovation. They'll be opening up full factories in a very short period of time. Our car industry, I think we're going to have the #1 industry. You know, if you look at Japan and these others, they do tremendously with cars, and they can do that too. But you know, if they want to sell cars in the United States, they're going to have to build factories in the United States, because I'm interested in cars for the United States. Now, one other thing is, in our tax bill, we're giving not only no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, but also we're going to get a deduction for people that borrow money to buy a car if it's made in America. If it's not,
says line. Industry experts are pushing back, saying most of these announcements are expansions at existing plants, not brand new factories, and many were planned years ago before Trump's failed tariffs. Former Republican Congressman John Walsh, who is host of the Social Contract podcast, has been ripping him left to right on this, saying you got to call a liar a liar. He joins us right now. And Joe, I've been saying this for years. I go back to, I guess it was February 2017, and I was on ABC This Week, and all of these mainstream media people, they were just sitting here trying to come up with every other phrase, and I was like, he's lying. He's lying. Why would you say he's lying? And I believe media, mainstream media, has been complicit in allowing him to lie with impunity, and then the public believe that all these amazing things are happening.
Roland, it's so good to be with you. You're spot on. And by the way, brother, I remember you back in the day saying that. Trump lies. He lied yesterday about those 11 massive car factories. It's bull. It's a lie. Nobody asked him a follow-up. Nobody in the media said, excuse me, sir, where are those 11 new factories? Look, the media, you're right, is complicit. They've normalized Trump's lying. I understand it, because Trump lies virtually every time he opens his mouth. He lies as he breathes. Roland, we've never, ever, ever had a politician lie like this. But the problem is, because Trump lies so much, and he's been doing it day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, the media, because he lies 1,000 times a day, the media now lets him get away with lying. That's not right. That's not fair. They wouldn't let any other politician get away with lying. They've stopped doing their job, Roland.
Yeah, they have. And the problem that I have is that, they'll let him lie, then Carolyn Levitt lie, and Stephen Miller lie. You've got Sean Duffy running around complaining about Pete Buttigieg and the Department of Transportation, Duffy voted against the money for the FAA. So I'm sitting here going, so you're not going to say anything? And we know Fox News is never going to correct the lying Trump administration.
Roland, this is why it's so dangerous what the media is doing, that they now are letting Trump lie. And again, I understand because Trump lies 1,000 times a day. But here's the danger. Republicans have learned from Trump. Republicans now are lying, not as much as Trump, but they're lying now with impunity because they say, and some privately, Roland, have told me this, look, Joe, it hasn't hurt Trump. Trump's gotten away with it. Trump lies about everything. And the voters don't care, and the media no longer cares. So the problem, Roland, is Republicans and everybody who works for Trump, because if you work for Trump, you must lie for Trump. They're all imitating him now. So half of the country is now untethered to truth.
Right. And so what then happens is he pushes the lies. People fall for it. They believe it. And then it's kind of like, okay. Or media's response will be, well, he's always lying, so it's really no big deal. And you're going like, what the hell are you talking about? I go back to 1990. And this video has been circulating. It was actually 20-minute segment. And it was when Donald Trump was being interviewed by Barbara Walters on ABC's 2020. And here's what's crazy. This is 1990. I don't know of a single reporter or anchor today that would interview Donald Trump the way Barbara Walters did. Listen.
Well, the new book is entitled Surviving at the Top. There are many people who would say failing at the top.
I hope the general public understands how inherently dishonest the press in this country is.
As a member of the press, let me try to clear up some of the things which you say are untrue. You write in your book, my bankers and I worked out a terrific deal that allows me to come out stronger than ever. I see the deal as a great victory, and eventually the rest of the world will too. Being on the verge of bankruptcy, being bailed out by the banks,
well, you don't have to say on the
skating on thin ice and almost drowning, that's a businessman to be admired?
You say on the verge of bankruptcy, Barbara, and you talk on the verge, and you listen to what people are saying.
I talk to your bankers.
Well, that's fine. And what do they say? I mean, depending on which banker you're talking to, what do they say? I'm the only one people write about. I mean, they don't write about other people.
You have a little more debt than most people. You're something like $3 billion in debt.
I also have a little more assets than most people.
Okay. You have debts to pay back.
Right.
You have huge loans to pay back. You say the country is in a depression. What makes you think that you can pay back those loans? And further, what your bankers have told us is that the only way you even have a chance is by selling that property out there totally, the plaza.
Well, I don't know what the bankers have said. The plaza is a very valuable property. Everybody told me, oh, you paid too much, you paid too much. Now they're all saying what a great deal he made on the plaza.
Not. You yourself said that you saw your children maybe once a week. You're having a lot of difficulties with your 12-year-old son, Donna. You haven't talked to him since May. Do you believe in fidelity in marriage?
Yes, absolutely, I do.
In the current issue of Vanity Fair, the author Marie Brenner says that you read from Hitler's collected speeches, My New Order, and that these are speeches that you seem to admire. What's your reaction? Do you have this book?
A friend of mine sent me a book, a man who I think is Jewish, although I don't know.
That was just, again, nailing lie after lie, and that's how you have to deal with it. Unfortunately, they don't want to do that. They frankly are entertained by his lies, and that's why he's back in the Oval Office.
Roland, that's amazing. I am so glad you played that clip. That was 35 years ago. And in the past 35 years, I've never heard anybody in the media interview Donald Trump like that. And again, yesterday, Roland, there he is up in front of the world. 11 new auto plants being built right now. Nobody in the media challenged that lie. And I guarantee everybody in the media knew he was lying, but they didn't challenge him on it. Roland, the danger is Trump is so bad and so corrupt and so lawless, but the media's normalized it. This airplane thing from Qatar, My God, if that's Obama, Biden, Hillary, it's the biggest story in the world. With Trump, we just say, oh, that's Trump. Gosh, that's dangerous. The media's normalized him.
Well, and guess what also has happened as a result? Let me pull this up. Just in, no shot. Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville, truly one of the dumbest members of Congress, has blocked a Democratic resolution that would have condemned the proposed gift of a luxury jet from Qatar to Trump.
I don't know what show I was on yesterday, Roland, but I said, look, this is Trump, this airplane thing. Donald Trump would sell our most sensitive intelligence if he could personally profit from it. That's who Trump is. But no Republican has gone after Trump for this plane from Qatar. It just saddens me, Roland, because my former party is a cult, but they've learned from him. And as you mentioned, they are all imitating him when it comes to lying. The media's let this happen.
They let it happen, and then I love this. Let's move on. No, just the other day, Caitlin Collins was interviewing somebody on CNN. It was a Republican congressman, and she was hammering him over the airplane. He goes, are you going to keep asking me this? Her response should have been, yes. Absolutely. We're not going to go to any other question until why you explain why you will not condemn this. And he was just giving mental gymnastics. And then it is not just even him. Even if you look at the people who criticize it, Ari Fleischer, okay, who served as press secretary to President George W. Bush, this insane, this is... Nothing about getting Air Force One. Hold on, let me show this here, because I was like, Ari, really? I mean, you didn't even have the guts to. Nothing about getting Air Force One from a foreign government feels right. It may be legal, but I wouldn't do it. Air Force One should be American through and through. It shouldn't pass through foreign hands, and it shouldn't be a gift from a king. Don't do it. That's it. I can guarantee you that is not Ari Fleischer's response if it is President Barack Obama, President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris.
No, God, no. And again, forget about Fox News, because they are what they are. The New York Times, the Washington Post, if this were Obama or Biden or Hillary, man, they'd be all over it. Look, Roland would never sit down with you because you would interview him like Barbara Walters did. If I ever interviewed Trump, I would say, Mr. President, before we get on to the topic of the day, did Joe Biden win the 2020 election, sir? And if he didn't give me a truthful answer, I would never move off of that question till he acknowledged he lost. I would never move from that till he acknowledged that he's been lying all these years.
But that's also why he's going to Saudi Arabia in these Gulf states, and there's not a single wire service reporter in the press pool. I'm going to bring in my panel, Dr. Mustafa Santiago Ali, former senior advisor for environmental justice at the EPA, Morgan Harper, director of policy and advocacy, American Economic Liberties Project out of Columbus, Ohio, Majid Podelin, social media influencer and writer out of Brooklyn. Glad to have all three of you here. Mustafa, it is just a constant flood of lies. And even you saw that Barbara Walters clip. What does he do? He attacks the media. And the reality is, people talk about Jeff Zucker. Before Jeff Zucker and NBC and The Apprentice, it was the New York media, the New York tabloids, all the New York media. They gave us Donald Trump because they knowingly and willingly accepted his lies because he was great copy and he sold papers.
Yeah, I mean, Donald Trump has always been focused on misinformation and disinformation. And unfortunately, as Joe shared and others have shared as well, that, no one wants to check him and make sure not only is it fact checking, I mean, that's the basic, right? That's the bare minimum. When he's lying and you still allow him to get away with it. Nobody said, the Nissan made an announcement earlier that they're going to lose 11,000 jobs. And that, they're going to close, I think it's 6 or 7 plants. Nobody asked about when these plants close also, about all the folks who are the manufacturers of the parts. We know over in West Tennessee, over in Maui County, and I'm trying to remember the other county. You know, you have folks who are also no longer going to be able to make those parts, so they're laying off about 400 folks. So it really comes down to holding him accountable. He holds the highest land in the office. That means that truth has to be a premium. Folks can't trust you if they know every time you open your mouth that you're not sharing something with them that is going to be truthful. But again, it comes to the integrity of reporting. You know, you say you want to be a journalist. If you want to be a journalist, there has to be integrity as a part of that process. But unfortunately, we find ourselves in a moment where everybody seems to be afraid to do the right thing, the thing that you would teach your children to do if they were on the nursery school or elementary school playground. You would tell them, don't tell a lie. You have to tell the truth. But unfortunately, that no longer seems to be a part of some of the culture in America.
That is the culture, and I think like right now, it's crazy to me, Joe, that all of this attention right now is on this new Jake Tapper and this other reporter, I think Alex Thompson, something like that, their book on Joe Biden and his health condition. I'm sorry, that ain't the story of the day. The story of the day, which will definitely go on, I want Morgan to speak on this here. The story of the day is tariffs failed. He completely destroyed the economy and got run out of town because of it. And Wall Street fought back. The $400 million jet, all the deals that he's cutting, the deals his family's cutting, the Medicaid cuts. I'm not wasting any damn time. Joe Biden didn't run 2024, okay? He dropped out. I'm not wasting breath going back and forth over that nonsense. I'm covering the corruption in front of us right now.
Roland, amen. But there's another great issue, right? There was plenty of talk about Biden's cognitive decline. No, I haven't heard anybody in the media begin to talk about Trump's cognitive decline.
Such as in Saudi Arabia. Guys, play the clip. Remember all the videos? Joe Biden walked the wrong way. Well, here's a video of Donald Trump in Saudi Arabia. First of all, here's one of him sleeping. So here he is rolling. He's literally sitting there, closing his eyes, sleeping during the program. Then let's roll the next video. He's now supposed to sign something, and he's going the wrong direction. And so he guys, no, not that one. Go to the one where he gets up, and they got to steer. Thank you. All right, so here he is going in the wrong direction. They're like, hey, no, you gotta go around. Oh, now where are all of the media out going on? Oh my God, look at him. What the hell's going on? He went the wrong direction.
He makes 20 to 30 verbal mistakes every day. Nobody talks about his cognitive decline. Look, I think Trump is an idiot. But his strategy has always been every day to throw 1,000 pieces of dog crap against the wall and lie 1,000 times a day so that we all become numb to it. Well, the media should never become numb to this.
Morgan?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know even where to begin. I mean, I would say on the tariffs, completely agree. I mean, a lot of the deals that are being cut, I mean, even looking at the UK deal with cars, that there was a carve out in that deal for luxury cars coming from the UK
but also,
that then will be going to the US.
Deal. It's also not a deal. It's the framework to keep talking. It's not an actual deal.
Right. It's not final in any way. It's just the proposed terms that could eventually become some kind of formal agreement. Very true. But even in those terms, if that's where we're starting, that we're going to have a carve out for luxury cars coming from the UK. And I think we were hearing from US based auto firms are like, okay, but then what about us, right? What's going on there? So, yeah, I mean, I completely agree that there seems to be a lack of either willingness or substantive understanding of the issues to be able to engage with him. I mean, in that Barbara Walters clip, she had clearly done her homework for a lot of time to be able to prepare to spar in that way and have the facts to challenge some of these things. Also completely agree when we're talking about Sean Duffy and some of the reality around his prior positions on how to manage the air traffic control system and how he's contradicting himself now or straight up lying about what happened in the Biden administration or didn't. I guess my question for Joe is, the politicians are where they're at. It doesn't appear that they're really responding to where the public is. In terms of the voters and the Republican voter base, do you think that there's going to be some shifts in it? And where is that information coming for them coming to them from if a lot of the mainstream media sources are, like we're talking about, not really prepared to really expose some of these contradictions?
That's a great question. And here's the thing. I talk to his base every day, and Trump, they accept and embrace all of Trump's lies, right? Like the Haitian migrants were eating cats and dogs, and I won the election. They accept all of those lies. Trump's going to try to lie about the economy. You mentioned tariffs. Trump will try to lie about the economy, but even his base lives the economy. So when Trump tells them their 401k is up, when it's down 50%, his base isn't going to believe that lie. When Trump tells them they're doing great economically and they lost their job 6 months from now. So his base isn't going to accept Trump's lies on the economy because they're going to feel those lies. I don't think his base will even begin to move until or unless they feel real economic pain.
Oh, absolutely. I've said that consistently on this show, that they have to absolutely feel it. And Democrats need to be in position to be hammering that in those states, in those counties, in those cities, and saying, hey, your guy is the reason you're going broke. It's your guy. It's not Biden. It's his policies. That's what they got to do.
Spot on, Roland. And they needed to be doing it 3 months ago. They need to do it every day.
Again, we talk about just the nonsense we see going over there. It's crazy. Majid, go ahead. What's your question?
Well, Roland, thanks. First of all, thanks for having me back on the show here. People say that hell is repeating the same horrible reality over and over again. And sometimes I watch what is happening and I feel like I'm in hell because, you hit it right on the head and the rest of your guests and the panel hit it on the head as far as the media helping to create this Frankenstein monster of lies that Donald Trump has turned into without any accountability. Dr. Ali talked about there needing to be some type of accountability. I am constantly appalled, and I've been appalled since 2015 when he first came on the scene. And, I was sitting there screaming at the TV back in 2015 and 2016. He's lying. Call him on it. How hard is it to prepare, to counter his lies? Like, you played that excellent clip of Barbara Walters holding him to account, holding his feet to the fire and calling his BS. I think George Stephanopoulos is the only other person I've seen, really able to nail him down. But I'm appalled at a room full of journalists standing there basically taking dictation during his press conferences where he tells lie after lie after lie. And by the media, and when I say the media, I'm not just talking about the journalists, the reporters, I'm talking about the people in the station, by them not even putting up a little, bubble that says, these are lies. Put a chyron on the TV saying these are blatant lies, all of them, and have a Daniel Dale type person come up and fact check either during or after the press conference. It's so important because, there are those of us in social media who, we feel like we're that mouse on the treadmill, constantly going and never really going anywhere. We keep repeating that he's lying, but at some point we need some media accountability. We need the people who are in position to to direct programming, to actually say, hey, let's put this access journalism to the side for a minute. Let's have somebody ask him some hard questions and push back until he can't be pushed back anymore. So I guess, Joe, my question for you is, you're in that sweet spot where you're kind of part of an alternative media, the same way like Roland is. Roland, I love your channel here, and I think you're building something that's really important. Do you think there is a way that alternative media can supplant in influence, supplant traditional mainstream media as far as getting the word out?
I think it already has, my friend. And Roland Martin is a pioneer in this field. Look, I go on this show, I go on Roland Martin's show. More people see me and will see this clip by 5-10-fold than any time I go on CNN or MSNBC. So it's already happening, and it's a good thing because people in the alternative media will hold our elected officials more to account.
Yeah, and I think to the point much you just raised there, Joe, I think what is required is you have to keep hammering. The issue is not, well, we did it for 2 or 3 months and then they haven't responded. No, it has to be absolutely constant. And then you have to then remind people, we told you, that's why we have the hashtag, we tried to tell you. We tried to tell you this is gonna happen. We tried to tell you this is gonna happen, and over and over again, because it has to be hammered in. And so, and you can't just move on also to whatever the flavor of the day. You got to know what the misdirect is. And so that's, to me, I think is what's important. And too many people aren't trying to do that. So I know it's difficult being a former Republican congressman, former MAGA, but the reality is you are one of those folks. You see what they're doing, so you understand the game plan when they are trying to gaslight the American people.
It's why, Roland, like people will say, Joe, you're always outraged. You're always angry. You're always pissed off. It's because I come from MAGA. I come from Trump world. And I know the danger. So, yeah, I can't stop preaching how dangerous my former political party is right now. Because, Roland, you and I have talked. MAGA used to be fringe. MAGA used to be a wing of my former party. MAGA now is my former party. It is the Republican Party.
Yep, absolutely. Joe Walsh, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.
Folks, going to a break. We come back, lots more to break down, including Trump bringing in these white South Africans, because they're facing oppression. No, they're not. No, they're not. And will they be stealing jobs from black farmers? We're going to talk about that. Chuck Schumer gets a backbone and says, I'm not moving forward on any DOJ nominees until Trump speaks on this $400 million plane. Why in the hell you didn't announce that on January 21st? All that coming up next. Don't forget to support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. Look, guys, we don't have millionaires and billionaires supporting us. We don't have these ad agencies who are running ads. They will send millions of dollars, billions of dollars to Fox News to run, but they'll say, oh, no, we don't buy news. But you buy Fox News, but you can't buy the Black Star Network. And so our fan base is critically important. Our target goal is very simple: to get 20,000 of our fans contributing on average $50 each a year, which comes out to $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. And do understand what is at play here. Do understand what we are doing here. It's not just this show. It's multiple shows that we're building. We're shooting a pilot for a new business show coming up. We want to target a health show as well. It's providing you news and information, not gossip, not entertainment, real news and information. And so you want to support us via Cash App. Cash App closed down all of our accounts because they changed their rules or the type of company you can have. So if you want to contribute via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. Click the Cash App button to contribute. You can also use the Stripe QR code for credit cards. You can also, of course, send your check and money order, make it made payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. Send it to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo RM Unfiltered, Zelle Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr, the Tuskegee Institute, now university, forever linked to the infamous and despicable syphilis experiments done on the poor rural farmers in Alabama and the Tuskegee Airmen, the famous heroes of World War II. But its history is about so much more. In his new book, The Tuskegee Student Uprising, author Brian Jones reveals a largely untold history, rich in radical activism and reform.
Suddenly the students are meeting these folks whose lifestyle is very different from theirs, very rural, but they're seeing them lose family members. People in their family disappear.
How Tuskegee became an epicenter for Black power. An amazing history lesson on the Black Table, right here on the Black Star Network.
I'm Russell L. Honoré, Lieutenant General, United States Army, retired, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
I told y'all Donald Trump only wants white immigrants. The attack on Haitians is because they're black. He called African nations shithole countries. It's because they're black. This is what it's all about. So what is he doing? Literally, yesterday, on a State Department plane, they flew in families, white Afrikaners, so-called, oh my goodness, Trump saying they're facing persecution. You got Carolyn Levitt. She's on the White House. She's up there lying about them as well, and them coming in, welcoming them to the country. Folks, utterly, utterly shameful and despicable, okay? And that's what you got going on. Now, remember they were all talking about the Great Replacement Theory? Well, that's what this is. So what Trump is saying, hey, we're going to sit here and we're going to run out all of these, all of these black and brown people, but hey, we're going to import some white people. And here is the Trump Deputy Secretary of State greeting these Afrikaners, and I'm going to play some other stuff where he praised them for their long history of being great people. I want y'all just listen to this question and answer.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to know, there were many, from the BBC, there are many people who fit the criteria of seeking help, who are fleeing persecution. Afghans, for example, I mean, they live in a country run by the Taliban, but they're being denied refugee status. So I'm wondering, why has such an exception been made for the Afrikaners, especially when the South African government says they're not in danger? And are you going to open up the refugee settlement program for others?
Thank you for that question. I think you may recall that on the president's first day in office, on January 20th of this year, he issued an executive order that paused U.S. refugee programs that had been going at record levels under the prior administration and had brought in people that we were not sure had been carefully vetted for national security issues, and put a pause on the refugee admission program in general. That pause, of course, was subject from the very beginning to exceptions where it was determined that this would be in the interest of the United States. Some of the criteria are making sure that refugees did not pose any challenge to our national security and that they could be assimilated easily into our country. So the president on February 7th issued an executive order about the egregious conditions in South Africa, and all of these folks who have just come in today have been carefully vetted pursuant to our refugee standards, and whether or not the broader refugee programs for other people around the world will be lifted is still an ongoing consideration. But again, the president has recognized the dire situation of this particular group of people, and again, they went through the
Basically, what he's saying is they're white. Now, the South African president, he's pushing back hard on this nonsense, granting refugee status to 59 white Afrikaners. Cyril Ramaphosa calls the move, quote, deeply concerning and insists these individuals do not meet the internationally recognized definition of refugees. Despite the U.S. welcoming them, he says most Afrikaners are not seeking to leave, that those who do are often wealthier and more secure than many black South Africans who are forced to live under hardship during apartheid. Now, also, I want y'all to keep in mind these these Afrikaners, they only represent 7% of the country. 7% of the 63 million people. Oh, but they own more than 70% of the land. Now, what's interesting is I saw this tweet from the white supremacist Charlie Kirk, and y'all gonna really love this here. Because he was touting them coming in. Now, mind you, so let me find the tweet because y'all going to get a kick out of this because it sets up my next guest because I need y'all to understand. Now, here's what. He was talking about, oh my goodness, how great these people can be, and he's citing this African National Congress thing. Look at the South African Boers face systemic legal discrimination in their country. They face horrifying violence based on their skin color. A political party in their homeland openly calls for genocide. Yet, this is the key right here, y'all. Yet at the same time, they are enormously talented people. They have useful skills. They're very close to America culturally. America can integrate them with minimal difficulty, and they will immediately start adding to America's wealth rather than subtracting. They are, without exaggeration, ideal immigrants for this country. John Boyd is president of the National Black Farmers Association. And John, this is what this is about. What they're saying is, wait a minute, these white folks, they could come in and start farming.
Yes, and Roland, thank you for staying on this real sore topic for me. They brought them in and greeted them, and these are, I want to be very, very clear, they say white Africans, these are white farmers and their families that they welcome into this country. And when did they welcome black people into this country? I asked you that question. We came in the belly of slave ships and chains and shackles. They flew them in on a government plane, and the Virginia governor, shame on him, helped them fly into Dulles, Virginia to greet these 59 families. And they're going to provide a resettlement for these people. I want to be very, very clear. Blacks we never got our 1.5 million acres out of federal inventory that came from black farmers in this country. And they're bringing them into this country, going to provide them with a pathway to citizenship. They're going to give them the tools and all this stuff necessary to make it in the United States, things that they've never done. They never provided a homestead rolling in this country for black people, but they're going to do it for white South African farmers based on race. The whole thing this president campaigned on when he said he wanted to do away with DEI because it was race-based and all of this stuff. They want to do away with programs to help blacks in this country, but you want to bring white farmers in, provide them with the pathway to citizenship.
But also housing, food, diapers, like all of this stuff. And I'm sorry, roll the video, y'all. Roll the video. It doesn't look like these people are lacking. I mean, they're coming off the planes with headphones and suitcases. These folks, these ain't no true refugees.
And Roland, they came from farms, probably, and some of these farms are better shape than the many black farmers here in this country where they came from. They own 75% of the land in South Africa. So here the president talking about they face reverse discrimination, and it was genocide. All these words that they use, things that they never defined in this country for black people, and certainly slavery fits that sharecropping and Jim Crow. All of these things fit that definition in this country, but they never said anything about helping black farmers or helping us get our land out of federal inventory. These are things that need to be raised while they're bringing these white farmers in with no pushback. I didn't see anybody pushing back there at that press conference, asking the real hard questions about black farmers in this country. They face discrimination, people. It's historic, decade-long discrimination. I've been spat on, Roland, and by my own government here. I've been called a nigger and 2 or 3 times by my own federal government right here in the United States. I had my land, my farm put in federal inventory right here in my country. And when I watched them bring white farmers in, solely by race, and going to give them a path to citizenship, where my forefathers had to fight even to vote in this country, man, it's hard to look at.
Morgan, Sean Rowe, the presiding bishop of the Episcopal Church, sent this statement out. He said that virtually no new refugees have arrived. Hundreds of staff and resettlement agencies around the country have been laid off, and funding for resettling refugees who've already arrived has been uncertain. Then, just over 2 weeks ago, the federal government informed Episcopal Migration Ministries that under the terms of our federal grant, we are expected to resettle white Afrikaners from South Africa, whom the U.S. government has classified as refugees. In light of our church's steadfast commitment to racial justice and reconciliation, and our historic ties with the Anglican Church of Southern Africa, we are not able to take this step. Accordingly, we have determined that by the end of the federal fiscal year, we will conclude our refugee resettlement grant agreements with the U.S. federal government. Morgan?
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty powerful statement. And I think, one of the things that, let's just say first, what's very sad about this is we have a lot of people around the world who truly do need the support of the U.S. government, the resources that we have, and the ability to escape persecution. And that's what a lot of these organizations, as he laid out, were created to support. And a lot of that infrastructure, here in Columbus, I mean, we have so many different communities, Somali, Russian, Jewish communities that were designated as refugees that have made their home in Central Ohio. And once you have that infrastructure, then you're able to use it to support different communities. So I think that's one thing I would note is just the closing up of that infrastructure and the organizations that have supported those settlement services not being able to continue. You can't just turn that back on necessarily, once there's a change in administration and more resources might come. And so that's a risk here. The other point, though, as we've been talking about, is, how this administration is defining refugee clearly is not connected to the reality of how most people think of that term and how it has been implemented in the past. I think one of the political complications around this, and I would love to hear more from John here, is that part of what, and this is getting back to our earlier conversation too, I mean, part of what is making this, I don't think palatable is the right word, but that they feel licensed to make these types of moves is because they feel like they're operating on some kind of mandate from that election, that there was discontent with how many resources were going towards immigrant refugee communities versus people who have been in this country for a long time. And so I guess, John, as you're having conversations with people, or in this moment where you're thinking about how to push back on some of these policies or looking ahead to what you want to see prioritized by a different administration. How do you wrestle with that? I think especially in the Black community, where we've heard from I know I've heard directly from people that are frustrated with how many resources have been going to support refugees from all backgrounds. And this is just the latest example of that. Not a position I agree with, but it is the position that I have heard.
Right. And the first thing that the administration came in to do was stop the food aid programs directly that went to South Africa that helped many native black families there. The second thing is I'm looking for an attorney or law firm that can file an injunction in federal court to stop this. I don't think they should be allowed to come to this country and get services and all of these things that are not allowed, and we haven't been able to get in this country as Black farmers.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing is they say they want to do away with all of any type of help. We were told from Wells Fargo, Roland, that we can't even apply because we're trying to help Black farmers here. So they're shutting down all these programs in our country, but yet and still they're doing this solely based on race, white farmers. And I want to challenge that in federal court. So if anybody that's watching this show tonight that got the galls and guts enough to represent us in federal court, I want to hear from them. That's the first thing. And this administration wants to cut off food and cut off resources to blacks around the world is what they're doing. And that's why they quickly went in and cut out the money. And this is by design, people. It's designed by Elon Musk, Stephen Miller. He's the architect behind it. When they want to test something, they throw Stephen Miller out there. We want to do away with the KP stuff and all of this stuff. They just want to do away with it. And they put him out there to test the waters. And then they see how it goes. And then they put up with some executive order. It's crazy, and it needs to be dealt with. And we need an uprising in this country, Roland. And guess what, man? I want to say this to Roland Martin because he was the sole microphone that warned Black America just how bad Trump could be. It was you, Roland, that waved that horn every day, and many people weren't listening to it. So now you have to listen and bear the burden of the real effect of what's happening to us.
And we were trying to tell them that this was about whiteness. Donald Trump, the last time he was there, Mustafa, he literally said, hey, why can't we get people, I think it was from Finland or something like that. He wanted white people. That's what he wanted. He wanted blonde-haired, blue-eyed white people. The attacks on the Haitians is because they were Black. And the people in Springfield, Ohio who were upset, it's because they were Black immigrants. And people need to understand this. I laid all this out in my book. I said it. That's why it's called White Fear, how the browning of America is making white folks lose their minds. If they could import 5 million white people, they would do this every single day.
I mean, without a doubt. I mean, for the last couple of years when I would be on the show, I would talk about apartheid-esque types of actions that were going on. And people would be like, Mustafa, what are you talking about? And I was like, all you have to do is look at the blueprint that they used in South Africa and how this administration has been utilizing many of those same sets of actions. So now they put it right here in your face. He talks about America first. If it was truly America first, then our Black farmers would have been taken care of, like John and my grandfather and so many others. Whether larger or medium-sized farms or small farms have been trying their best to be able to get justice and to be able to have an equal playing field. But an equal playing field is not a part of the supremacy sets of actions that we have currently going on, because we're seeing it play out right now before your eyes. You're seeing the fast tracking of visas and subsidies. They might as well just gave folks a gift basket. Maybe they did. That they talk about the vetting. It's really interesting when they talk about the vetting. I'm really concerned with what they're actually doing in this space, because originally it was supposed to be 49 folks coming, and then 59 folks got off the plane. So somebody evidently didn't do a good job in relationship to vetting. And I know a little bit about that. when it comes to black and brown folks, whether you're from Venezuela, the Congo, Syria, Afghanistan, or Myanmar, he doesn't see value in you being a refugee in this in this country, and are trying to find ways of sending you back or to stop individuals from coming from those countries that are having wars, civil wars. They're having political issues that are going on. They have coups that are going on. They've got real issues that this country should be taking seriously, should be inviting those folks. But we find ourselves in this moment where people have taken off the hood. Let me say that again for the people who are slow, who are watching, who took off the hood and are showing you exactly who they are. So we have to keep putting a spotlight on it. You've got to also make sure that you're reaching out to folks up on Capitol Hill and asking them, what are you doing in this moment? Because if you say that you are elected by the American people, but I don't see you necessarily doing the steps that are necessary to protect them and to uplift them and to make sure that they get their just due. But that's the moment that we find ourselves in.
So I want to play this here, John. This is a clip from that same State Department official, but I want you to hear what he actually says to them in greeting these folks. Listen.
Welcome. Welcome to the United States of America. It is such an honor for us to receive you here today. This is the land of the free, and we know that all of you have faced... I'm Chris Landau. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm the Deputy Secretary of State of the United States. This is my friend Troy Edgar.
Yeah, I'm the Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security. Again, welcome. So great to have you guys here.
I know you've gone through a long flight. I cannot believe there are babies and children who are actually so well behaved. This is much better than mine are. So bless you for that. And you know, I think it's so happy. It makes me so happy to see you with our flag in your hands, and that flag symbolizes liberty for so many of us. Many of us, our families, have had a journey not that different from the journey that you are embarking on today. My own father was born in Europe and had to leave his country when Hitler came in the 1930s, and made his way to South America first and then eventually to the United States. So he is an immigrant who actually, you know, was able to benefit from the many blessings of this country. And one of the reasons that I really wanted to go and work for the government is because I wanted to give back to this country that really brought freedom to my family and allowed us to escape a very difficult situation in another country. So, you know, I know that this is going to be, you know, any adjustment in life, any change takes a while to get used to. But I want you all to know.
What the hell?
Roland, that's the time we're living in right there, where you roll out the carpet for white farmers that coming from South Africa. They had a big press conference and welcomed them to this country. And anybody of darker skin of immigrant in this country, they're chasing them out by the busload and the boatload here. That's the reality, and they keep saying it's not about race. I watched the president when they asked him about it, and he said, you know, these just happen to be white farmers that they're bringing in to help. That's the whole initiative with this whole administration. They simply want to help white people in this country, and that's not the America that we're living in, man. You got people look like me, look like you. We got to live here too. That's the problem right there, Roland. You can't just come out here and say you're going to do that and don't expect to face some pushback. And it also should be a bell ringer for us as Black Americans, man. We got to reorganize. We got to come together. If you can't come together now in this country with all of this white bigotry and hatred towards Black people, man, there's something wrong with us. We need unity right now to band together, Start buying food from each other, from black farmers. Start doing business with blacks, because this administration clearly does not want us. And that's what they're showing us here.
This is, Morgan, this is the clip here that John was referring to. Listen to the liar in chief, the idiot in chief, Donald Trump.
Who claim discrimination in their home country are heading to the United States, where your administration is going to welcome them as refugees. Now, this comes as you've halted virtually all refugee admissions for people fleeing famine and war from countries like Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Why are you creating an expedited path into the country for Afrikaners but not others?
Because they're being killed, and we don't want to see people be killed. Now, South Africa leadership is coming to see me, I understand, sometime next week. And, we're supposed to have I guess a G20 meeting there or something. But we're having a G20 meeting. I don't know how we can go unless that situation's taken care of. But it's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about. But it's a terrible thing that's taking place. And farmers are being killed. They happen to be white. But whether they're white or black makes no difference to me. But white farmers are being brutally killed, and their land is being confiscated in South Africa.
He's straight lying. There's no genocide. They're not being killed. He is a liar.
Yes. And, go ahead.
Yeah, these are just lies. And, it's not even remotely funny, because as that reporter pointed out, there are deadly conflicts going on in other parts of Africa, not South Africa, that are hurting, I'm sure, farmers and all sorts of other people in Sudan, the Congo. And so the fact that we're not going to be providing resources for them, that doesn't seem like it's something that matters to the president of the United States in this moment is very, very upsetting and scary, to be honest. This level of lying. This does get back, though, to our earlier conversation. One other thing I was going to add, because, I know the books about Biden can seem, and I agree, not a great use of time or energy to be spending a lot of time on the retrospective. But I do think one of the things that creates the opening that makes it more challenging to call out some of these lies is that, they're kind of able to turn and, oh, well, Democrats are liars too, right? That's a phrase we hear a lot. And to the extent that there were people that maybe knew things about whatever, Biden or not, I don't personally, it's not necessarily, and certainly isn't the big issue of the day, but just saying, like, in a world where most people aren't paying attention, where there's a lot of different information coming at people, these are the types of inconsistencies that I think do facilitate just the rapid fire of lies coming out of Trump, and then it not breaking through with the public. So even if we think that that's not a good use of time, I do think we have to be honest about the fact that Democrats have a trust problem with the general public, whether fair or not, and what are going to be the ways to restore that trust.
But here's the deal, though, Majid, and this is the reality. Before Biden got elected, Trump was lying. He was lying 2017, 2021. He lied. He lied when he was running, going back to 2015. So I don't care if there were people in the White House who were, concealing Joe Biden. But here's the other deal, okay? And here's the problem even with that, okay? Stories like, oh, Joe Biden may have been in a wheelchair. But then I see video of him riding bikes. I'm like, what the hell? At the end of the day, this man is lying. He is allowing white Afrikaners to come into the country under the pretense of genocide in South Africa. He's lying about farmers being killed. That's what he's lying about. And they're lying about even the land redistribution, because these white folks literally stole the land. But you know what? I guess Donald Trump will never have to admit that, because that's what white Europeans did in the United States.
You're right, Roland. And, when I first heard about these white South African farmers being brought over here, it was like a blatant slap in the face. It wasn't even a dog whistle. It was a bullhorn. It was a bullhorn message. Donald Trump was putting up a whites only sign on America, because after everything that he had gone through and had his administration do to get rid of people of color, to deport people, even people who were here with legal standing, just getting rid of them, however he could. And now he's rolling out the red carpet for people. And as Mr. Boyd pointed out, and you pointed out as well, it is all about race, despite the fact that they say, oh, it's they just happen to be white. No. It's not that they just happen to be white. This is the reverse great replacement theory, right? They've been obsessed with this thing for years now.
Yep.
For years, they saw some data maybe a decade or two ago saying that by the year 2050, Caucasians, whites were going to be the minority race, and Latinos were going to be the majority. And so this has them obsessed with, like the whole anti-abortion thing. Yeah, they don't want to abort any more white babies. They want more white babies. Let's pay $5,000. Let's just pay you $5,000 to have some babies, And that's what it's all about. And I personally, this South African thing, I think Elon probably put a bug in Trump's ear about, because even the courts in South Africa said that story is nonsense. There's nothing legitimate about it. How hard would it be for, I'm not a reporter. I'm a guy with the social media account. How hard would it be for a reporter, a journalist, when he said that thing about they're being killed, just to open your mouth and say,
but again, though,
no, they're not.
But again, though, it's the strategy. And see, and John, what I need black people to understand, what I need black people to really understand what's going on here is, and I have been saying this since the inauguration, Donald Trump, Stephen Miller, MAGA, this is about defunding black America. When you talk about the attack on the farmers, who was the person who sued the Biden administration when it came to their settlement with black and Hispanic farmers? It was Stephen Miller's legal group. Donald Trump said, oh, it was an illegal DEI settlement for those black people in Lowndes County, Alabama, who had sewage being backed up into their yards. They stopped that. They stopped the settlement. They stopped the lawsuit against the petrochemical companies in Cancer Alley in Louisiana that was killing black people. They stopped the lawsuit against the HOA in Dallas that didn't want black people in it. They stopped the lawsuits, the HUD lawsuit. They stopped again, they are clearly targeting black people. And I need black people to understand that what you're seeing right here is an embracing of white Afrikaners, individuals who were absolutely racist, individuals who beat black people. These people, and you're right, David Sachs, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk are all white South African men who grew up under apartheid, and they loved that particular system. And what we also cannot forget, there was this country was two countries. Okay, Israel was selling them weapons, but this country, the United States, stood steadfast with the white apartheid regime. It was Ronald Reagan who vetoed the sanctions bill, and he was overwritten by Congress because Republicans were even aghast at that. It was black people, the Polaroid Revolutionary Workers, who launched the divestment campaign because it was Polaroid that made the passbooks. It looked like passports that black people had to carry around to show their proof of citizenship. So I need black people today to not act like this is no big deal, that 59 white Afrikaners are being led in by Donald Trump. What we are seeing right now from this administration is an all-out assault on black people.
Yes, and Roland, maybe you tore it up. And I want to make a more direct nail, with the hammer here. $5 billion that I worked 30 years to get in this country. I had to go through acts of Congress and marching and lawsuits. We finally get it. Stephen Miller and that bunch organized white farmers to sue us and organization and stuff in federal court and block $5 billion to black and other farmers of color in this country because they say it left out white farmers is what their sole argument was. And Roland, they sued us in all these federal courts in Florida and Texas and that we had to raise money and come on your show and ask for help, all of these things. They done it because it was the monies of $5 billion was going to go to black and other farmers of color. Now they say, they say you can't do that. You can't pay the $5 billion because it's solely based on race. That's what the argument was in federal court. Now they want to bring white farmers. I'm gonna keep saying it to somebody starts calling it what it is, and their families into the United States, and help them, give them a path to citizenship. And what it says on this executive order, it says right here, refugee resettlement is what they want to do, resettlement and other initiatives. That means money and land and all of these things. They're going to bring them to this country and provide that to them solely based on their whiteness. I'm going to use your word, Roland, white farmers, but they won't do it for blacks in this country. They won't return our land out of inventory, but they want to give it to white South African farmers. They want to give them Native American lands or grazing lands from the Department of Interior, and they want to give them land out of federal inventory. That's what I heard, Roland, from the United States Department of Agriculture that came from black farmers. And I'm going to tell you right now, on your show, Roland, I said it, I would die over my land for anybody who don't know how serious I am about this movement. I would die over my land because the way that my forefathers got it, man, they had to scuffle, they cheated them and done everything they could. And they were able to hold on and hit these people and take your land and give it to white South African farmers. I say no. And guess what? Now, I'm going to use Grandma Ruth's line here, Golden. She would say, you keep on doing bad. There's a stick sitting up out yonder with your name on it. There's a stick sitting out yonder with Donald Trump's name on it. And if he keeps doing wrong, he's going to step on it.
Yep.
Just give him time, bro. He's going to step on that stick that Grandma Ruth is talking about.
All right, John Boy, keep up the fight. We'll do it as well.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. So let me show y'all how quiet some people are, these little black MAGA people. Danielle Carter, the fitness instructor in Chicago, she has an organization, Chicago Flips Red, and also you see her right here at the White House standing with Trump. So I'm on her Twitter feed. Do you know what you don't see, Mustafa? Morgan? You know what you don't see? I don't see nothing about these white Afrikaners. Dem party is so over. She got all this stuff. Here's this one tweet. She was criticizing in New Jersey. When was the last time you Dems fought for their loyal base that was vote blue no matter who the black community? Okay, they on here calling Reverend Jesse Jackson Jr., Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr., a sellout. Look at this. Daniel C. confronts sellout Jesse Jackson for protecting illegals. That was 3 days ago. I don't see anywhere on here, Majid. I don't see anywhere. I don't see her calling out these white Afrikaners. Matter of fact, so let me go on over to that, let's see here. That little child who was cheesing at the White House, Sharice Lane. Let me see, pull her up. She was a FAMU graduate, and she was sitting here. Let's see here. Sharice Lane. And I'm gone. So let's see here. Look at here. She got her little American flag, Jamaican flag up. So let's look at Sharice's page. Let's see. Okay, let's see here. Okay, I don't see nothing about the South Africans. I'm looking. Wow, I'm still looking. I'm still looking. I'm still scrolling. Let's see. Okay. I'm still, again, y'all, she was one of these people who was out here just running her mouth that, oh, Trump is this and he's amazing. I literally don't see a single tweet where she's calling out. It's amazing. They missing. Now, Daryl Scott, let me go on to his little page. Now, I'll give Daryl credit. Okay, I saw his tweets earlier where he was calling out the folk. But what was missing, he wasn't tagging Trump, his boy. So Daryl said, I'm looking right here. Here it is right here. So Daryl Scott, I wonder what the reception would be if 50 black South Africans came over with their families to assimilate into America. He writes, I lived during the time when there were international outcries against apartheid, which fell upon deaf ears. Excuse my lack of sensitivity. And so wonder where all those refugees got American flags from during their escape from genocide. They looked like they were all bought at the same gift shop for a photo op. And I'm sitting here again. But here's the problem. He ain't directed nothing at Trump. Trump's his boy. He talked about how he got Trump's phone number. He didn't say, so that's performative. If you aren't criticizing the man who brought him in, I don't want to hear a damn thing from you.
That's the thing. He doesn't want to get kicked out of the clubhouse. He's got access right now. He's, I hate to use the word token, but I'm going to use it anyway, because that's basically what it is, I could probably make a fortune if I wanted to, just throw my my morals and values in the trash and never look myself in the mirror again, and switch over to the dark side. Yeah, I could probably make a fortune being like, that Candace Owens, if you will, but I can't do it. I need to be able to live with myself. And I remember watching the brother from the Daily Show. He was talking, I can't remember his name, but he was talking about how when he was growing up and he was little in South Africa, his mother was
Trevor Noah.
Black. Thank you. Trevor Noah, and his father was white, and they literally couldn't walk down the street together. Like they had to be across the street from each other. And I thought, it's bizarre. I was like a teenager when that was going on. Like this was like the modern world. So Elon was living in that modern world. Probably most of those farmers that got brought over here were in that modern world. And how the hell can you live with yourself being the token on that side and not say a damn thing?
Like nothing. Like no word whatsoever. I mean, I'm sitting here, Morgan, Vernon Jones in Georgia. I'm on his Twitter feed. I don't see nothing, Morgan. I mean, I don't see not now tweet about these white South Afrikaners, Trump lying about genocide, farmers being killed. I see everything. Newark, he got Bill Maher stuff. He got all. I don't see nothing. I guess they don't get the news where they're from.
Well, I completely agreed with what she was saying about the fact that, this influencer class, if you have, especially as a Black influencer, decided to sign up for the MAGA side of things, I do think you're playing a whole different game. You know what the terms of that game are, and you probably are going to be a lot less likely to go hard against the president, even if it's something you don't agree with. But I'm going to come back to the point, and actually in the first, and I will admit, I do not follow that part of influencer land very closely, so I don't remember her name, but the woman out of Chicago, where she was saying... Oh, yeah,
Danielle Carter, who she went off, yes. she did some of the videos, she went off on me because she was mad that I hadn't had them on the show. Girl, bye. Girl, bye.
You don't want to have that debate rolling? I would maybe watch that. But anyway, the
levels of ignorance is just beyond me. But go ahead.
It's too much. Okay. The point she made about the illegals and, that he's addressing the quote unquote illegals that have been here. I mean, that's getting a little bit at what I was getting at before is among the Black folks I know that supported Donald Trump in this past election, there is this sentiment that, we have not been well served by anything coming out of the federal government in some time as a Black community. And
I've heard
some of it, right? Okay. And some of that is baked in. This view that this segment that doesn't like anything that
right, but if they are going to be against immigration, be against the white folks who Trump's flying in. But they can't do that, Morgan, because that messes up their grift.
I agree. I completely agree with the influencer set. Yes, it's a grift. That would complicate the grift totally. But with the voter, I'm going to come back to what Joe was saying earlier is I agree. I mean, I think this is baked in. I think the only thing that's moving a lot of the real people level of society that voted that way is economics. And until it starts to hit people directly and they're really feeling the impacts of some of this bad policymaking to pocketbooks, I don't know if there's anything else that will shift, because I think a lot of these other issues, as abhorrent as they could be, are baked in for this set of the population, and nothing's going to shift there. And so, it's unfortunate in some ways that, more harm would have to come on all fronts, that we're seeing these things greenlit, like people that are not in any need of real support, unlike Black farmers in America, as John was saying, that, desperately need support. The Afrikaners that are coming from South Africa that are going to be, getting these resources, and the racism that's built into all of it, all bad. But I unfortunately just don't think any of it's going to really move the needle as much as people starting to feel economic pain.
But I believe it's important to still call them out, Mustafa. How about these little young Negroes called the Cartier family? Same thing. I'm sitting here. I'm on their page. Matter of fact, they did. This was the only comment they made. Liberal CNN commentators suggest taking away land from white South African refugees who could go back to Germany. Interesting that this is how they feel about white refugees and not third world illegal immigrants. That's the most they had to say. Are they disagreeing with it? Nope. Are they calling it out? Nope. No, they stand right with it. And again, I'm looking for something. Nope. They real quiet. Where y'all at? I don't see nothing. See, guess they not consistent. Now, let me go on over here to truly some idiots. I blocked these fools. Let me unblock these fools, the Hodge twins. And so let's see here. Ooh, I'm looking, okay. Okay, anything about South Africa? Anything about South Africa? Let's see here. So the Episcopal Church said they're gonna end the refugee thing, we just talked about it. Oh, the Hodge twins, the two Black dudes, they called the Episcopal Church racist. So they down with the white Afrikaners. Look right here. Deport every damn Somalian and every other immigrant that lives off the government and hates America. We'll take the hardworking South Africans that will love our country. So the Hodge twins, them Negroes love them. These two minstrel show participants. They just loved the white Afrikaners. Now, you do have some conservatives of conscience who are consistent, and I'll give her credit when she does. You take Sonny Johnson. So Sonny Johnson, she retweeted this post. The amount of excuses that some of you make for supporting the South African refugees, but not the Haitian refugees, clearly reveals your motives. It was an apples to apples comparison, and you immediately pivoted to border jumpers. That's not who we're talking about, and you know it. Okay, so I got that, and I'm looking to see. If she posted anything else. She retweeted this here. There's no white genocide in South Africa. No need for misleading hyperbole, but there is discrimination against minorities. It is infused into our laws and public policy under the fig leaf of redress by ANC and race-obsessed lefties. Pretending otherwise is to gaslight us. So she retweeted that. I still disagree with some of that. Let's see here. Anything else? So I go ahead and leave it at that. So you do have some who have some decent morals, values, integrity, and call those things out. But the reality is this here. What we're looking here, Mustafa, are individuals. A lot of these people, it's the grift. They know they can't say anything because they white daddy, Trump, is going to mess with their money.
Well, I think James Baldwin said it best when he said, I can't believe what you say because I see what you do. I mean, it is our sense of action that say who we truly are, what our values are. And do we love Black people? And do we love other folks also who are in vulnerable situations? You know, I don't know those brothers and sisters because I'm busy on the ground doing the work. But it is important to make sure that individuals who might come across what they say understand who they are and what they represent. Because we live in this digital world where lots of folks don't read anymore. They get a quick clip and then they just go with that. So you got to put a spotlight. Wherever injustice might be, you put a spotlight on.
Yep. Folks, we've been covering, of course, the story of what happened at the ICE detention center in New Jersey. Now you got some Republicans who want to strip Democrats of their committees as a result. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries is like, y'all might want to slow y'all roll, talking about y'all going to arrest these Democratic House members. He addressed that today.
I think that the so-called Homeland Security spokesperson is a joke. It's a joke. They know better than to go down that road, and it's been made loudly and abundantly clear to the Trump administration. We're not going to be intimidated by their tactics to try to force principled opposition from not standing up to their extremism. It hasn't happened during the entirety of this failed term. It didn't happen when Donald Trump temporarily was sitting high in the immediate aftermath of the election. Do you think it's going to happen now when he's the most unpopular president in American history after his first 100 days? Give me a break. No one's intimidated by this dude. No one. And so there are clear lines that they just dare not cross.
So, look, don't be surprised if if Republicans try to make this move. We already see what's going on. So the real question, Morgan, is how should Democrats fight back?
I mean, I like the strategy of pushing the envelope on the opposition and push it legally. I mean, force them to continue to have to defend how laws are being broken. I mean, we're seeing this, you know, to the clip from Congress people. We've been seeing it from sitting commissioners of independent agencies. There's, you know, active case right now. I've mentioned before the federal trade commissioner, Democratic federal trade commissioners that were attempted to be fired. They're suing. We're seeing it with kids in college that are also pushing back and suing from their illegal detention. And so we need to continue to have on all fronts that we the people that recognize some laws and Constitution out here in the United States of America need to be encouraging folks to stand up and fight back like that, which can be intimidating, but there's power in numbers. What you're doing, rolling it through the shows, shining a light on that opposition that's happening, that people are not just folding there. The only thing I would dispute in what Rep. Jeffries was saying is that people aren't intimidated by this. I think we know very well that a lot of Republican members of Congress are very intimidated. And so even, you know, like one of the big stories of the last couple of days with this airplane from Qatar, like you were saying, there were Republicans that spoke out about it, but very, very timidly so, right? It's like, this could be a problem if we have foreign entity, right? Not just like what the fuck are you doing? Like, you cannot do this as a
right.
president.
Normally we're used to Republicans stomping, getting loud. This is sort of how they're speaking. I'm gonna illustrate y'all. Give me this wide camera. This is how they're. So normally they're loud. This is them right now. Like tiptoeing, real quiet. You can't hear them say nothing. That's how they operate. Normally they loud, making us. No, they tiptoeing in. They ain't trying to go there.
Absolutely, because they're terrified. They're terrified of losing. They're terrified because they know right now the political calculation is if Donald Trump is not on your side, you are going to lose as a Republican in a primary. And I think the challenge for the people of this country who, again, believe in the Constitution, believe in the rule of law, whether you're an elected office or not, you're just a person, is to change that political calculation. And the way that I do think that this is an effective way to start to make that change is by having, these sorts of the arrests that are happening, the pushback on the arrests, the lawsuits covered, exposed, people talking about it. And it starts to really infiltrate in a broader set of the public that then is going to be like, you know what? I don't know if I really like my Republican congressman that seemed to be okay with a child being abducted from the street.
Right.
That's not the America I want, right? Even if I'm a Republican. So, is that a huge number of people? I think our recent history would suggest to us not, but it's probably enough to swing outcomes of elections. And that is really the challenge in this moment.
And Lord Mustafa, look who finally woke the hell up and joined the party. Today, Senator Chuck Schumer decided to go to the floor and he said, until Donald Trump answers about this jet from Qatar, I'm not going to allow any political appointee nomination to the Department of Justice to go forward. Wow. What did somebody drop a backbone and he picked it up? Play.
President, news of the Qatari government gifting Donald Trump a $400 million private jet to use as Air Force One is so corrupt that even Putin would give a double take. This is not just naked corruption, it is also a grave national security threat. So in light of the deeply troubling news of a possible Qatari-funded Air Force One and the reports that the Attorney General personally signed off on this clearly unethical deal, I am announcing a hold on all DOJ political nominees until we get more answers. Here are some questions that must be answered. First, I call on the DOJ's Foreign Agent Registration Act Unit, or the FARA unit, to do its job and disclose all activities by Qatari foreign agents inside the U.S. that could benefit President Trump or the Trump Organization. Since Attorney General Bondi took charge, the Department of Justice has not been doing its job when it comes to FARA. The FARA unit needs to enforce the law and inform the public of all activities, not just on this luxury plane deal, but all deals involving foreign countries in the Middle East and President Trump, his family, and the Trump Organization. Second, with regard to this $500 million private jet deal, the American people deserve to know the facts. President Trump has told the American people this is, quote, a free jet. Does that mean the Qataris are delivering a ready on day one plane with all the security measures already built in? If so, who installed those security measures? And how do we know they were properly installed? Why would we take the risk of trusting any foreign country to do this sensitive work? If not, what security modifications would be needed to ensure a foreign-sourced Air Force One is safe to use? If this is, as President Trump promised, a free jet, will the Qataris pay for those highly sensitive installations, or will American taxpayers cover the cost? How much will those modifications cost American taxpayers? Hundreds of billions of dollars? Hundreds of millions of dollars? Billions of dollars? How much will they cost? If the American taxpayers are forced to pay for this temporary plane, does it mean the U.S. government will cancel the contract for the future Boeing plane? If so, how much will that cancellation cost? And if not, why are American taxpayers being asked to spend hundreds of millions of dollars or more on a plane that will only be used for a year or two? Additionally, who in the Trump administration was responsible for this crooked deal? What are the parameters of this deal? And which country brought it up first, us or them? What is Qatar being offered in return? Considering past security disasters, such as the U.S. Embassy in Moscow, what are the security risks of this arrangement? And finally, how is this gift not naked corruption? The Attorney General must testify before both the House and Senate to explain why gifting Donald Trump a private jet does not violate the Emoluments Clause, which requires congressional approval, or any ethics law. So, until the Attorney General explains her blatantly inept decision, and we get complete and comprehensive to these and other questions, I will place a hold on all political nominees to the Department of Justice. As disturbing as this
look who woke his ass up.
I mean, it's always interesting. I'm always curious. I'm like, so what is it that finally breaks the camel's back? What is it that has to be so egregious that you say no more? And then I'm like, and this is it? After you watched him literally strip billions and billions and billions of dollars out of programs that help all kinds of folks across our country, when you take a look at all the side deals that he has done with, you know, all the stuff on the cryptocurrency side, his family making these deals that are going on, and now you finally want to say something when folks have been asking you for months, you know, to stand up, to push back, to utilize the limited power that you have, but to utilize it in a way that is actually meaningful. So it's always great when people wake up. I'm just always amazed that it takes certain folks, and often it is politicians, you know, so long to wake up. And they wake up after the real damage is done. I'm not saying that this is not important. I know ethics. I lived through it when I was in federal service. But I'm like, you saw all these people across the country who now can't find a place to live, who don't have anything to eat, all the basic amenities that you allowed to be stripped away. And this is the one that woke you up. I'm glad you're awake. I'm glad you're awake. But it would have been nice if you'd have opened your eyes a little sooner.
See, this is the thing for me, Morgan, that drives me crazy. Like, here's a perfect example, tied to the Schumer deal. So you got Sean Duffy running his ass around as Secretary of Department of Transportation, talking about when they should have been fixing the problems with the airports and the FAA. And he gave this speech right here. That boy don't do math real well. Listen to this.
And again, we didn't have to be here. This did not have to be our story. Over the last 4 years, the last administration, they knew this was a problem. And by the way, during COVID, when people weren't flying, that was a perfect time to fix these problems. But again, they got $1.2 trillion for infrastructure. And again, we didn't have to be here.
Okay, y'all might have missed that. So let me just play that 20-second clip one more time, because this boy did not do well in math. Listen.
And again, we didn't have to be here. This did not have to be our story. Over the last 4 years, the last administration, they knew this was a problem. And by the way, during COVID, when people weren't flying, that was a perfect time to fix these problems. But again, they got $1.2 trillion for.
That was 2020. That was Trump was president.
Yeah.
That's a little hard for Biden and Harris to fix the problem in 2020, Morgan, when Trump was in the Oval Office in 2020.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the danger of somebody like a Sean Duffy is, you know, he's a TV guy. He was on MTV. He's on Fox News. You just like, you look away for a second and he said like 5 more things and then you don't even know which way is up. So again, so important that we have these conversations to break down what is happening and just the ridiculousness of it all. And I'll add, I mean, not specifically in that clip, but just generally this idea that, okay, so yeah, one, Biden-Harris was not in charge in 2020 when everything had shut down. But 2, another claim he's been making with this air traffic control situation is that, that they did nothing to support the air traffic control system. It's just false. I mean, I have a colleague at American Economic Liberties Project, Bill McGee, who's an aviation expert, put out a tweet thread today citing one of the press releases that from the Department of Transportation during Biden-Harris administration talking about hiring over 1,400 people to support the air traffic control system. So, it's interesting because another point that Secretary Duffy has been making is, this isn't easy. This is going to take us some time. But then in the same breath, he's attacking people who were actually doing something to address the issue, but doesn't want to admit to that, of course, because, politics.
Yeah, I mean, Majid, the thing for me about the Schumer piece, dude, this is where you go scorched earth. You're limited power. This is what you say. Say, dog, ain't nobody getting through. Ain't nobody getting through. I'm going to do and then if they complain, I'm going to say, what was that scene from Eddie Murphy? La, 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 la. I'm going to say, this is me right here. I'm sorry. Didn't y'all pull that bullshit when Biden was there? Then I would say, didn't y'all block more than 100 federal judges, preventing Obama from naming them? Nah, player. I ain't letting nobody through. I'm shutting everything down. This whole thing about unanimous consent, nah, we ain't not. Nah, I'm going to make y'all vote on everything, go through I'm about to make y'all life hell. Do the same thing that Rand Paul did, the same thing Tommy Tuberville did. That's what you do.
Yeah. I was going to say, you don't even have to go all the way back to Obama. Tommy Tuberville just did that, was it last year, the year before that? I will say this about Chuck Schumer. I was mad as hell when he wrote that strongly worded letter. I was like, dude, are you kidding me, bro? So yeah, at least he stepped up his game a little bit, and he's blocking the DOJ in order for them to get some answers on that plane. I also like Leader Jeffries, flexing a little bit, with his own go ahead, make my day moment, daring them to come for his reps, because frankly, they're accusing the members of Congress of body slamming cops. Like, did you see that little old, I don't know her name. She's a little old lady. She can't weigh more than 100 pounds.
Bonnie Watson Coleman.
Yes. I don't see her body slamming somebody. And you know what? If she did, produce the body cam or produce the video, because nowadays everybody's got a video in their phone. If they've got a phone, they got a video camera. So yeah, if it happened, produce the video or it didn't happen. But what I'd like to see out of Congress right now is stuff actually more in line with what Chuck Schumer is doing with this procedural thing, because you're right. They don't have the Democrats don't have a majority, so they don't have that much power to do much. But now is the time to get creative, get archaic.
Welcome.
Go back in the files.
No. Go ahead.
Go back in the files of how the minority has obstructed progress in the past. Go back to the 1700s, the 1800s, and figure that stuff out now. Now is the time.
I just came across this. We were just the State Department put out a little video of the white Afrikaners coming here, and boy, y'all watch this here. Listen to the music. I mean, my goodness, it's gonna be a Netflix docuseries real soon.
welcome to the United States of America. A lot of you, I think, are farmers, right? When you have quality seeds, you can put them in foreign soil and they will blossom, they will bloom. And we are excited to welcome you here to our country where we think you will bloom, and we will hopefully allow you to have fulfilling lives for your children, and then we will benefit alongside you.
I ain't never seen them put a video out welcoming black people.
No.
But the real deal here, the real deal about that seed, remember he was commenting, oh my goodness, all these children, that's the seed they really want. They want future white people.
And Roland, the thing that's disgusting to me about that is that they talk about, he said something about, oh, you know, what an arduous trip you had, you know, with young kids on this plane. What? Excuse me? They had a nice, comfy ride on a plane.
A chartered jet, a chartered plane. Stop it.
Have you ever seen people come here from South America? They have to like endure like really dangerous conditions. They're crossing a body of water with their young kids. Sometimes they have to send their kids by themselves, and they are fleeing. They are literally fleeing for their lives. You can, and that's the stuff you can verify.
Morgan,
they got the gangs down there. They got a lot of dangerous stuff. So yeah, there's the only difference is the color of skin.
Yep.
That's it.
In fact, I'm scrolling through Morgan, and I can't find a video like that of black people. Morgan, I'm going through. I can't find a video like that welcoming black people.
Yeah, my guess is we're not going to see that anytime soon coming out of this administration. And again, I mean, just to underscore, and I appreciate, you know, that Majid was mentioning the South American Haitian immigrant. I mean, I was listening to that and thinking of a friend of mine that his family did actually survive a real genocide in Rwanda, was able to settle in Georgia and make a life for themselves. And he went on to go to Stanford. It's like, there are like real situations that require our support. And so, you know, I do think, though, the challenge for us here is we have a lot to criticize on what's going on right now, but I also want to make sure we're starting to think about what is our vision for what we want. And we have some work to do to kind of like reestablish an important value for the U.S. is both making sure people that live here have resources that they need to be okay, like the black farmers, like we've discussed today, but a whole lot of other folks, but also that it is a value of this country to look out for people that are in true distress in other places and to make a home for them here, and that they can be protected. Is that a value for the next 250 years of this country? I don't know. That's up for grabs right now, but that's something that we need to kind of like run down for ourselves as quickly as we can as we prepare for whatever the next phase is going to be.
Wow, Mustafa. So I went deep. Come on, go to my iPad, Henry. I went deep. It took me 5 days to find a photo of a black person. This is a photo from the U.S. Embassy in Prague. American troops enter Czechoslovakia. This is celebrating what happened on April 18th. So here we go. That's the only black person I done found on the State Department website. So yeah, that's about it.
Well, it won't be there tomorrow. You know, their erasure and how they utilize that. So take a picture now so you can hold on to it. You know, it's interesting. They always talk about merit, right? And I'm curious about the merit that is used in relationship to these individuals being able to come when we've got farmers that are in the Sudan and in Congo and a number of other countries as well. So if we want to talk about, you know, and the importance of farmers, along with our own farmers here, then we know that they have just as much merit to be here in this country as other individuals. I'm one who believes that our country should welcome folks if they're going through a civil war or conflict or a number of other types of things. If that's not the case and you are a refugee, then you need to get in line, just like everybody else, like you say, everybody else should do. Once again, they don't live up to the words that they continue to spout out. There's no authenticity in their actions or the things that they say.
Absolutely. Let's see.
Afghan refugees.
Oh yeah. Well, but see, no.
Those South African farmers, they jumped past the Afghan refugees.
Yeah, but
I can't believe like they left them blowing in the wind. It's just disgraceful.
Because they're not white.
Risk their lives to help.
Because they're not white. And again, we just got to call this thing for what it is. And so I just need us to recognize, and I'm not letting these folk off because it's all about whiteness, because it's all about white fear. All right, to the panel, Majid, Mustafa, Morgan, we appreciate y'all being on today's show. Lord have mercy. It's always a lot to talk about. Some stuff we didn't get to. But the craziness is all there, so I appreciate y'all being here. Thank you so very much, folks. Thanks a bunch. Tomorrow, we're going to show you, there's been a lot of drama happening at Florida A&M. There was a rally. There's a rally taking place, I think it's tomorrow. Will Packer, was it today or was it tomorrow? So we're going to have that for you. Also, tune in tomorrow to the Black Star Network at 10 a.m. Eastern. We will have live coverage of the funeral of former Labor Secretary Alexis Herman, who passed away at the age of 76. And so that's going to take place tomorrow at the National Cathedral. So we'll have that live. She was a brilliant woman and loved her dearly. And so we certainly condolences go out to her family and friends. And so we'll have that as well. So lots we're going to be breaking down, y'all. And again, this is why you need to support Black Star Network, Black-owned media, because I'm telling you right now, ain't nobody else having these conversations. Other Black-owned media, they talking about hair and beauty and other little silly shit. I mean, but I'm sorry, we want to focus on news and information that keeps you informed. So support our work. Join us. Here's our Cash App. Again, we ask $50 each a year from folks. If you can't give that, totally understand. If you can give less, I get it. And I appreciate every single dollar. If you can give more, that'll be great as well. And so go to our Cash App, and that's the QR code, the Stripe QR code right there. Also, you can send your check and money order, make it out to Roland Martin Unfiltered. Send it to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. PayPal, R. Martin Unfiltered. Venmo's RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. And of course, download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. You can also, of course, you can also get my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. Available at bookstores nationwide. And of course, get the one I read on Audible. You can get that as well. And let's see here. Don't forget to get our gear. Get our Roland Martin Unfiltered Black Star Network gear. You can get all of that. As well, go to RolandMartin.creator-spring.com. Be sure to get Fanbase. You can get the download the app, but you can also invest. Go to StarEngine.com/Fanbase. And I'm gonna give you all an update. So remember, we had our crash in 2022 of our Mobile, and so we've been working diligently with a company to get it built. We were working with a Black-owned company. We got screwed over by them. I'll give you those updates very soon on the action I'm taking against that company. But I want to give y'all a sneak peek. And so they are building out our new vehicle. And so they sent us some photos. It's going to be a Ford F550, a much larger vehicle, allowing us to carry all of our gear in it as well. And so these are the images they sent me of it being constructed, and we actually get it next week. So they send you all these updates, and you see all the electrical wiring and all this sort of stuff like that. And then now we're going to get to the insides of the vehicle. That's the driver's section right there. And then you see there's probably going to be, that's the bathroom being built. And so then we keep going, and listen, y'all were really supportive of us. We appreciate that. This is going to allow us, when we travel to broadcast, we'll be able to do how we're going to have this constructed. We can actually even do interviews in the vehicle. You see them putting the flooring down as well. These are some of the new photos. You see the LED lighting, and let's see here. That's the outside of the vehicle. This is, I don't know what that is. It's probably the trunk.
So more electronics. Again, that's all important. So our refrigerator, our microwave, our counter, and you see it all coming together. As you see how it's going to be. So it's going to be really, really cool. So back here, this is the back of it. So yeah, you're going to have 2 captain's chairs there. Then you're going to have that monitor. And again, allow us to be able to do one-on-one interviews in the vehicle. And so it's all coming together, and we'll be able to. So we're going to have all those benches and everything. And so you see the extra TV we're going to have there as well. So it is going to be pretty cool that's the partition between what we could communicate with the driver. And so that's it. So y'all, we are making progress and looking forward to that and being on the road, broadcasting all across the country. There's some crucial races happening in New Jersey, happening in Virginia. We're going to be covering those races. And so you're going to see us on the road. So look forward to that. And so your donations made that possible. And I told y'all, I'm very upfront how I operate. That vehicle is larger than the Sprinter that we had, so that was $275,000 to actually custom build this Ford F550, which will allow us to be able to travel, carry our gear, carry our team, and be able to broadcast for events all across the country. And so, again, support our work. Cash App, use a Stripe QR code. Please go there. And then, of course, you can make checks payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered Checks and Money Orders, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. PayPal, R. Martin Unfiltered, Venmo, RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Y'all funny. Y'all in the chat saying, do you need a driver? I already have a driver. We're good. And so we appreciate that. Folks, that's it. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Holla! Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch! I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?